when I slide, nightlight on the blade. Bet I'm on my side, so then ran down, caught him pants down. I knew it was fake, but I still ate.
Welcome into the Your Illini Nation pregame show. Illinois, Penn State, the almost ultimate finale here in the regular season. Penultimate, that's what I was picking up. We're getting late into the season. Andy Olson, Derek Piper here to break down the game for you before it gets started here in just under 30 minutes, almost 20 minutes now. Should be a really interesting one, Derek. It should be a fun vibe going on in here as Illinois returns home for their final 2 games of the season. Last chance for this crowd to see Illinois here this week at home, and they're going to meet Penn State for the first time this season. It's been a while since they've seen them over an entire calendar year, and Penn State is a team that's been a little sneaky this year. They have a win over ranked Michigan State when they were ranked, and they're 7-11 though. Don't really show a lot on paper, but it's an easy trap game, I think, if you look over it on paper.
Yeah, you said it right there. It's a game that's a little hard to get up for. It'll be interesting to see Illinois' response after a gauntlet of having to face Rutgers, Michigan State, Michigan in there as well, Ohio State during a 4-game span. Then you turn around and you play Penn State. You're hoping that, number one, it's March. This is when basketball matters the most. This is where you're trying to peak at the right time. You can earn the top 3 seed in the Big Ten tournament by getting it done tonight and taking care of business. And you want to just continually to start playing your best basketball. I think that the way Illinois executed offensively to score 93 points in Ann Arbor was a really good thing to try to build on. But yeah, Penn State's okay. I think 7 wins in the Big Ten really is decent for Micah Shrewsbury in his first year at Penn State. They've got some decent players. They have not been good on the road. Where they've given teams trouble is in their home building. As you were saying, they beat Michigan State there, they beat Iowa there. So they have some quality wins in their resume, but only 1-8 in true road games. So going on the road has been a tough task for them. Illinois should handle their business. I'd just be interested to see early on how much life and energy and punch they have tonight. Then again, Penn State just lost by 23 points in their home floor to Nebraska. So are they starting to lick their wounds and get ready to hit a beach or spring break or whatever?
This one, games like this could be even harder to predict than some of the more higher intensity games. I want to start before we break down the matchup is start with what you mentioned, locking up a top 3 seed in the Big Ten tournament tonight for Illinois. With the win, they will be locked into those top 3 seeds. It'll be Wisconsin, Illinois, Purdue in some order, depending on what the final day of the season, how that goes. And Derek, we've heard time and time again, Brad Underwood tell us, they're taking it one game at a time. They're not looking forward, they're not thinking about where they're going to be seated, but you have to imagine that's a big deal to this team, and having that extra day of bye, get that double bye, as much rest as possible going into hopefully what is a long March. You know, it means a lot to get that win tonight and get that taken care of before Iowa comes to town on Sunday.
Yeah, and I think that you're probably not too worried about the outcome in the Big Ten tournament, but securing the fact that you're one of the top 3 teams is a big deal. Keeping the glimmer of a hope alive that maybe Wisconsin falls in their home floor on Sunday against Nebraska. Just having a chance to win a Big Ten regular season title is certainly important. And not having a blemish on your resume, which would be a home loss to Penn State. So you think about NCAA. I know we're talking about it. I don't know if the team's talking too much about it, but Brad said yesterday that they're having conversations about the Final Four. Going hand in hand with that, you want the best seed possible. You want to try to have your resume in a really good spot. And I think avoiding maybe that 4 or 5 game in terms of a seed in the NCAA tournament would be great. I think Illinois still has a chance to earn a 3 seed, which would be a pretty big deal in my estimation. But yeah, just continue to take care of business, winning this game, going into a big matchup against Iowa, who's playing great basketball. That could be a quad 1 win. And yeah, I think that there's something to be said for this would be, 3 straight years with the double bye in the Big Ten tournament. That's pretty good.
One of those years they didn't get to play because of COVID canceling the tournament. It would be 3 straight years. Penn State also playing to try and stay out of those Wednesday games. They can still fall below because right now they're lining up as a 10 seed, so with a few more losses, they could easily fall into playing on Wednesday, which is what no team wants in the Big Ten, so it's not like they're going to roll over for Illinois. All right, let's get an injury update now. RJ Melendez, Benjamin Bosman's Verdonk have been out the last few games. We can safely say at this point in the season, big role players, they've come up in big moments for Illinois at different parts in the season. We look behind us now, Melendez, and I haven't seen Benjamin out here yet, but Melendez is definitely in street clothes. So how big is it going to be to get those guys back? Because Underwood has said they're getting back to practice. Their first day was yesterday. They're just not game ready yet. How big could it be in March getting those two guys back?
I think it's definitely important. You look at what RJ had done prior to the appendectomy and just the energy, the athleticism, the length that he's provided. A guy that was playing with a lot of confidence, and he was starting to really put something together here to have a role off the bench and be someone that you pair with Coleman, and you look at guys that kind of bring similar things, and again, energy guys that rebound, that can make a shot, and I think that just being able to match up with some bigger athletic teams that you might see in the NCAA tournament is something that could be a good value if you have RJ available. Bosman Verdonk as a five-man that now we're seeing Coleman play more five, which I know that's an option that fans are really liking. I certainly understand it's a different look, but anytime that Kofi might get in foul trouble, just to have someone that can physically bang in the post, a guy that plays with high energy, a guy that can rebound. I know he doesn't bring a whole lot offensively, but just to have him available in that rotation certainly makes you a deeper team and maybe able to withstand a little bit better if Kofi were able to get in foul trouble.
All right, let's talk about the matchup here tonight. Like we set off the jump, it's been over a calendar year since the last time these two teams have played each other. So a little bit different. They've had all a Big Ten season this year to kind of get to where as good as they're going to be as teams, and now finally matching up with one another. If you're part of NFL Draft Twitter, you probably talked a lot about a different picket today, but there's another picket tonight that Illinois fans should know about, and probably going to be mean a great deal for the Nittany Lions getting him going tonight. Just kind of how do you see the matchups and where maybe each team has some advantages?
Yeah, Jalen Pickett's a good player, transferred from Siena. Illinois was actually interested in him when he hit the transfer portal. 6'4" guard. We've talked about bigger guards giving Illinois some issues. Now, he's not the same athlete as a Malachi Branham or Jaden Ivey, so that's a little bit different, but a guy that can get in the lane, that can finish over a smaller guard. I imagine Trent Frazier probably draws that matchup. He does a good job of setting people up off the pick and roll, whether he hits John Hara on the roll man, or Penn State does have some shooters that he can kick to. So that's something I'd be looking for, just kind of slowing Pickett down, not having to help off the corners. And you really don't want to give guys like Seth Lundy, Miles Dredd, Sam Sessions who comes off the bench, you don't want to give those guys open threes. So that's a big key for Illinois. Now, Illinois on the season has done a really good job of limiting teams and not allowing them to get hot from deep. So that kind of plays to their strength defensively. And I look at the matchup, Kofi versus John Hara. If Kofi is locked in and playing full maximum effort, like he just had a fantastic game against Hunter Dickinson, who's 7'1", 260. Hara's 6'9", 240. But he plays with as hard as anybody out there in the Big Ten, so he's great on the glass. We'll see if Kofi can match that intensity. If he does, I think Hara will struggle. If he doesn't, maybe then Hara's able to kind of scrap for some offensive rebounds. And when you look at the matchups last year, Kofi really succeeded against him. They played in State College. Hara only played 9 minutes, and he was in a lot of foul trouble. Kofi went for 20-plus in the both times they played him. So kind of looking at those two, and Sessions against Curbelo as the backup point guards that both guys really want to spark out of. I think that's one to watch as well.
I wanted to ask you about Kofi because, like you said, I think his best performance of the season came last time out against Michigan, and not just the offense. I think he had maybe his best defensive performance of his career against Hunter Dickinson, holding him just 3 of 14 from the field. I mean, an incredible performance, and just played with a lot of energy. How important is that tonight if we see that Kofi again playing against Penn State?
Yeah, it's a dominant big. That's a guy that not many can do a whole lot with. And Dickinson's been on a heck of a roll right after playing Illinois. He put up 33 on Michigan State. So that shows how good of a year he's been having. But Kofi really made sure that he wasn't able to score inside. Outside of maybe leaving him open for 3 one time,
yeah,
Hunter had a really rough go of it. And I think that him playing good pick and roll defense is definitely important. And then being able to wall up in the paint and make sure a big guy doesn't really get going. But I really do look at the pick and roll as kind of the gauge for Kofi. How much ground is he able to cover? Does he make the right reads on when to leave the guard and recover to the big? Is he hitting the glass with a lot of energy and intensity? And then I thought that he was really strong and decisive with his moves offensively. He knew where he wanted to go. Yep. He had great touch with either hand, and they hit him in the pick and roll. I think that that's something that you want to continue to grow with Curbelo or Trent. And that was just really an all-around performance. When you get 27-7 out of Kofi in that game, that's something to build on and push forward. And I would hope you see that kind of Kofi tonight as well.
All right, we're down to 13 minutes to tip on the clock in here at the State Farm Center. Derek, as we kind of wrap up, let's get your final thoughts and a prediction as well, what you think the score is going to be.
I have Illinois getting it done. I think that Penn State can be a little feisty, but I think that Illinois will be up. I think they sense the urgency of March. I think the fact that Trent Frazier and DeMonte Williams only have 2 more games in this building, I think they'll be ready to play. I think Illinois cruises late and really makes it a kind of a bigger margin. I have Illinois 76, Penn State 62.
Oh, I had a similar score in my head. I come up with these on the spot. You do yours on the website beforehand. The spread right now, last time I checked, was 12.5. I'm going to go Illinois 73, Penn State 58. So I'm doing a 15-point win. I think that's the right math. 15-point win for Illinois. So we'll see. Pretty close scores. I think Illinois should get this one done. I think, you know, I think you're right. The calendar turns over to March. It's just different. It's a different feeling. They know what this feels like after last season. I think they get it done today. So in the 12 minutes where fans have the sports tip-off here, what can they read on IlliniInquirer.com right now to get them ready for tip?
I got my full preview, breakdown of the matchup, and then Jeremy went and saw Marez Johnson last night, St. Rita, 2024, really athletic Illinois commit. He talked to him, so good stuff out of that. And then Jeremy and I here, Joey on a vacation, taking a little bit of a break before March Madness. But Jeremy and I got you covered, reaction, and all the analysis after this game.
Who said he could take a vacation in March? What are you doing, Joey? All right, well, that's all we have here from the State Farm Center. Be sure to check out our coverage after the game. We're going to have the press conference right into its full comments afterwards, as well as the WCIA 3-in-1 podcast. You guys have a podcast as well. Listen to one tonight, maybe listen to one on the drive to work in the morning, whatever you want to do. But we will be here covering it after the game. Don't forget, you get highlights on the 10 o'clock news as well. Should be a really interesting one. Happy March, everyone. For Derek, I'm Andy. We'll see you after the game.
And Operation Management from the East College of Business.